40-2 over the last season and a half for New London. Another 3, that one rattles the iron and drops. Hinton there for the rebound and the putback.
You know what? Great read there by Hinton. Got himself inside of Dale and found himself in a perfect position for an offensive rebound. And when they see that one on tape, you know, Coach Holliday is going to say to Dale, how do you let him inside like that?
Dale thought about the very long 3, then cops it up on the way to the basket. Porter with a line, gets it to go.
Yeah, got it to go. Working hard on Cooper down the other way. I'll tell you, Porter's had a very impressive first half. That's 12 points for him. Most of them, or at least 6 of them, coming off of defensive breaks.
Cooper catch and release shot, buries that one from the outside, so he's shown a good compliment to his inside game. Down the other end, Dunn shows you how he creates his own shots, and he's given the Whalers their largest lead now at 11, 34-23.
There's last couple minutes has not been defensive basketball, Chris. It's let's get up and down the court, let's fire it up, and the ball's finding the back of the net.
Dale's going to need some help. Skips that one to Cooper on the near side. Knocked away, but into Beckford's hand. That one's off the mark. Putu fighting for the rebound is going to get fouled. It's going to be a grab and a call on Fields.
But you saw where New London's defense takes so much away. When Mount Pleasant is on the near side of the court and facing the near sideline, the only 2 guys who are open are on the other side of the court. And it's, you know, it defies the law of physics. You cannot throw the ball in that direction blindly and expect to get it across to the only open guy, and that's a credit to this New London defense.
6-team foul on the Whalers, so it'll be a possession foul, and Beckford will inbound. Gets it into Dale, backed up into the corner. Watch defensively by Dunn. Dunn's going to take it away, tightrope the sideline. Here comes another showboat, boom! You know, interesting enough, when Dunn broke the career scoring mark at New London, which was previously held by former URI great Tyson Wheeler, he did it with a layup when he hit a breakaway. Hinton hangs and banks after the double clutch, and he'll have a shot at a 3-point play as New London starts to distance themselves here in the waning moments of this first half.
Well, and we've got ourselves a 15-point game because what Mount Pleasant needs is focus for the full balance of the game. You lose focus for one possession. You lose focus, never mind one possession, one pass, New London's going to make you pay. This was going to become what essentially was going to be a will versus skill game. There is no doubt that New London came into this game with a little bit more skill. I mean, you know, this is a defending, 5-time defending league champion, defending state champion. They play against some of the best public and private high schools, non-prep schools in the region. And this was going to take a perfect effort. You can't have imperfect possessions.
Beckford's had trouble outside this half. Putu with the offensive rebound, another one for the Kilties. And you have to remember as well, Montero's absence eliminates arguably your best defender. If not one of the best defenders in Division I North, I would say certainly among the best on the Kilties.
Well, and you know, you're only one of only 2 seniors on the team, which you can't really discount when you're going against a team that knows how to win, like this New London team.
And so much of shooting from the outside, if we're talking about seniors and how they've performed, is the ability to nail those outside shots. And with tired legs, it certainly has to be a little bit more on the difficult side.
Oh yeah, no question. And you know, a couple good hits there by Putu. He's 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And again, it's a 13-point game basically because of you know, maybe 6 or 7 more mistakes than and points off of turnovers.
Beckford checks out of the game. Sophomore Tariq McPhail in for the first time, and he's defending Dunn there. Dunn tried to drop that one for Simmons, and it was taken away by Cooper. Nice look up court by McPhail. That one's going to lead to a foul, and some free throws going to the line will be Brandon Dunlap.
Nice job by Sam Miranda of New London getting back, though, in transition defense. I think he's the guy that's going to get called for the foul. But at any rate, he got back with such speed. It took what looked like a clear-cut 2-on-1 and made it a 2-on-3 very quickly.
That one comes up short for the 6-foot junior. Try to cut it to a 12-point game. Can't, misses both. That's out of bounds. Last touch by, I believe, Simmons. He was in the area, as was Dunn and Cooper. Now Khalil Thompson will check out of the game. Coming in for the first time, Jose Small, the 6'3 junior.
Jose's a lot of things, but Small ain't one of them. He is easily the tallest guy on the court right now.
Right into the game, he'll hoist a shot, no good. Kept alive by Putu. Taken away by Porter, but he loses his balance and possession for his team.
Well, Cooper has some good height on him as well, which is why I think, one of the things that, the Kilties have had a pretty good success rate on has been their play on the offensive glass, their persistence, their energy. It's waned a little bit in the last couple of minutes as New London has pulled away a little bit. But one thing that Mount Pleasant has impressed with has been their play on the glass. Oh, this is not something we have seen all that often, and we have not seen New London set up this dramatic of a half-court offense. About a 10-second difference between the two clocks.
Good look at a three. Henton knocks it down. Lead now 16 points. Final 14 seconds. Shot clock is off.
That's New London showing you they can do it both ways.
Hang and bank. Gorgeous stuff off of the window that time by Putu. Final shot would count, but it's off the mark. Miranda throwing it up there as the buzzer sounds. Well, very entertaining as expected half of basketball between the Kilties, who were a little bit on the fatigued side, having played an overtime game last night, and New London, who had a long bus trip, but came and showed a very well-balanced attack, obviously highlighted by Chris Dunn.
Yeah, good descriptor, good adjective, well-balanced. They showed that they could shoot from the outside. They could certainly go to the iron with the best of them. And I think they shook off their early mistakes. The turnovers that plagued them in the first couple of minutes, they were able to shake off. And the momentary lapses in focus have really haunted the Kilties.
First half comes to a close, and you've got New London looking for their 6th consecutive victory out in front by a 41-27 score. It is the Varsity Zone. We are live at Joe Mullaney Gymnasium here at Providence College on Cox Sports. Inside our wonderful Cox Sports crew and Mike Rubin, my name Chris Fama. Very fun first half of basketball that played closer than the score would indicate. New London, which is just offensively a juggernaut, really pulled away late. Had the lead up as high as 15 at one point, now at 14, 41-27.
Yeah, the second half of the second half is when things started to unravel a bit for the Kilties. And again, I think it comes down to focus. You need to, against a team like New London, and this is a lesson that Mount Pleasant will learn going into the state tournament. When you're a young team, you're going to play the likes of the LaSalles and the St. Rays that are, at the top of their respective divisions. If you want to win, focus for the full 32 minutes.
Well, Mount Pleasant has played LaSalle once already this season and did knock them off, but the Rams are atop the Division I North standings. Speaking of atop, Chris Dunn was atop many a head coach's wish list in Division I basketball. He's coming here to Friartown, and the showcase that was this game to be got off to a brilliant start in that first half. Outstanding numbers.
Leading all scorers, Dunn with 17 points. About the only thing he didn't do right were the two foul shots on the intentional. by our very unofficial count, 8 rebounds and 5 helpers, able to distribute the basketball. He has great court sense, a very good nose for the ball, compliments his teammates. And I think one of the things you see from great players, Chris, you and I grew up Celtic fans, and you know, a guy like Larry Bird made everybody around him better. That's what, and I don't want to put Chris Dunn in the pantheon that is Larry Bird, but he does make everybody better with some of those backdoor passes and some of the looks that he's able to have.
I agree with you. I think that's a fair comparison. And the point that you were trying to make, the essence of what you were saying, we get a foul on the rebound underneath, so it's going to be New London basketball. Dunn was set to inbound, but now he'll lend favor and allow it to be put in by Fields. But the other thing, too, is I think many fans will be, impressed by his passing ability and his court vision.
Like that?
As a beautiful take to the basket by Simmons, his first bucket on what is now the 6th assist unofficially for Dunn. But also, I think some folks may be surprised at his willingness to give the ball up when a guy can score that prolifically. Simmons now steals, gives way to Fields, and the third-team all-statewide receiver lays that in.
Well, I got to believe that one of the things that the coaching staff of New London was emphasizing coming in is Dunn takes it to the iron and misses the jam.
He went for the rainmaker, but Dale didn't give away his ground and stood up there and contested it nicely. Wobbled and knocked around, that one out of bounds, still Whalers possession.
And our attention hasn't turned to the offensive side of the court for Mount Pleasant yet. I think one of the things that the New London coaching staff went into the locker room and said is, hey, look, you're up by 14. The next 4 baskets go one way, and it's a basketball game. They go the other, and the game's over.
Well, and I think that is a very fair assessment considering that the real big guns for Mount Pleasant haven't gotten going yet. Looked like it may have been a walk there by Porter. He misses the shot. Simmons there for the putback. We didn't say a lot about Simmons in that first half, but here's a 6'5" kid who has really worked hard in all 4 years that he's been there. He's been playing since his freshman year. He's developed what is a really nice 15-foot jump shot, but there's just not that many shots to go around a very talented roster.
Well, and they put up, 40-odd points in the first half, and they were scored by primarily 3 guys. Henton had 8, Porter had 12, and of course Dunn's aforementioned 17. I think one of the causes for concern, Chris, if you're Mount Pleasant, as New London comes out in a bit of a press here, not much going on the glass for Mount Pleasant.
Here's the steal and a takeaway. Porter right to the rim.
This is about as bad a start to the second half as Mount Pleasant could have asked for. Coach Holiday wants timeout. 3 times you've had the basketball, 3 times you've turned it over. Moreover, it looks like you're utterly baffled by the press, and I think what Mount Pleasant has to do is settle things down. This went from a 14-point game to a 21-point game in 1 minute and 41 seconds. That's a credit to whatever the Whalers talked about at halftime.
To continue with a bit of a football reference, as we mentioned, Fields' acumen on the gridiron. What was a 14-point game, well, we just saw a pick 6, and now it's a 21-point game because in the span of 1 minute and 41, it ballooned just like that. And again, this after Mount Pleasant hung right in there, blow
Absolutely.
for blow for the first 12 minutes of that first half of basketball. Now, again, we have to mention that they played a very impassioned overtime game last night. They are a little bit on the short-staffed side.
Yeah, they lost in overtime, 65-64 to Cranston West. It was a back-and-forth game. At one point, Mount Pleasant was down by 10 or 11 points. They came rallying back. It took a 3 in the waning moments of regulation to send the game to overtime. And, a home run shot from 60 feet doesn't go at the buzzer, and you got a 1-point loss to a Cranston West squad that had only won a game, or one game going into today's game, and another turnover for Mount Pleasant. And this is where New London, we saw them do it at the end of the first half, Chris. They settled things down. They ran a very compact half-court offense. When you're up by 21, you can practice some different things in a game setting.
Stewart stripped from behind, but Dunn got a little bit too much that time. that is one, if you can find, say, a knock on Chris Dunn. He does tend to commit a lot of fouls. I've spoke to a number of coaches and some folks who referee at the high school level, and they say oftentimes they believe it's the fact that he is so fast that the officials can't really be in the proper position. A beautiful finger roll through the lane by Stewart, as he's got 4 points now. But a lot of times they don't have the proper angle because they're not quick enough to be in position. Dunn leaves that one, and Simmons reverses it nicely with the right hand. But he has been disqualified from a couple of games. In fact, the St. Joe's loss, Dunn didn't play the final 7 minutes because he had fouled out. Now, they were controversial calls, to say the least. Craig Porter will tell you about that. A nice little bucket again there by Stewart. So he's starting to catch a little bit of fire, and that's important for this Mount Pleasant team. The mid-range jumper short by Dunn. Simmons, the offensive board. How did he get that one to go? Kiss City off the window.
Great turnaround, but again, second chance points. That is the third offensive rebound. They have almost, I would think that the Whalers have as many offensive rebounds in the first 3 minutes of this half as they did the entire first half.
New London is doing the little things, not only through the opening 2 minutes and 46 seconds of this half, but they did it the final 5 minutes of the first half, and that's why you see a 21-point difference on the scoreboard.
Well, and Mount Pleasant is, I don't want to use the word panicking, but they're a little bit helter-skelter trying to break this press. They need to go back to basics. They need to go back to showing to the basketball and moving without the basketball and finding seams, as we see again, Stewart, that's the third time he's been able to break this press.
Hinton bodying Stewart on that one, and Stewart will draw the foul.
You can tell we're getting close to the end of the winter season. The lacrosse team for Providence College has just made their way in from practice from outside.
Their presence has been felt over the last couple of weeks as Chris Burdick's team gets ready for another Big East slate.
Well, some of them are going to spend 3-4 years here with, at least 3 years, some of them, with Mr. Dunn.
Long three by Beckford. And Dunn another rebound as he zeroes in on what could be another triple-double performance. He does have 2 of them this season. That drive didn't quite have the English he was looking for, but Porter on the reverse gets it to go with the right hand. Everything with Dunn, even his misses, look so fluid. Obviously an outstanding athlete. Very graceful. Nice fake that time by Dale as he gets spun to the ground after crashing into Fields.
Fields just walks it off. That is a tough hit. There was a lot of contact there, and Fields just dusts himself off, and both guys did, actually.
Not afraid to go over the middle of the wide receiver, Fields. Beckford will keep trying the threes, misses again. We get a foul, I believe, behind the play. This one's going to go against the Kilties. It's going to be their second team foul. It's going to go on Putu. Fields 11 touchdowns, 42 grabs this season, almost 900 yards for the Willis football team.
Putu quietly had 12 points in the first half, was perfect from the free throw line. Someone that surprised the Kilties haven't gotten more involved here in the second half.
Dunn spins his way through and connects off balance. Gorgeous stuff from the senior.
His first basket of the second half. We've seen him with a couple of helpers. We've seen him on the glass, and now he has second half points to boot.
Stewart shows he's got moves. Beckford a good look at a three. Still off the mark. Dale couldn't follow. Good look up court by Fields. Porter finishes. And he'll go to the line for a three-point play.
18 points now for Porter, and that's where he is at his best. He is very tough, going hard to the hole, and that is probably the third or fourth time that we've seen him close in on the hoop with those layups. And, unfortunately for the Kilties, that's where New London shows that they're a state championship caliber squad. It's not so much necessarily that they have the one-man show. Yes, no one's discounting the talent and the presence of Chris Dunn. But, some of these other guys on whom the spotlight doesn't shine so brightly, a guy like Porter, one of the juniors that'll try and lead this team next year, in the absence of a couple of these talented seniors, has had himself a terrific basketball game.
Tony Falzerano Connecticut coach said, do not count out this New London team after a couple of early season losses, and said, do not think that it's a one-man gang, because it isn't.
No.
And I believe the Whalers have shown that here this afternoon.
And what is sometimes a challenge, and having, I know you and I have seen teams that have outstanding individuals that don't win, and part of the reason is because it is difficult for others to either accept a more deferential role to that great player, or that the great player doesn't necessarily elevate his teammates in a positive way, that it becomes a one-man show. Credit New London. This is a team in every sense of the word.
Dale, who had 5 points in the first half, gets both free throws to go. Hinton misses down the other end, and Dale unfortunately couldn't bring that one in, knocks it out of bounds.
And to continue that point, that is sometimes difficult to teach. Sometimes that comes from parents and teachers and people well beyond the guys in the locker room. And, this New London team's looking to do something that is very hard to do, and that's repeat as a state champion, and they've moved up a division.
Craig Parker is no rookie. He's been there for 16 seasons. As the lead continues to grow,
22-33
now.
22 points now for Porter.
Porter's able to knock that one away. Folks see the disparity. We'll get a little bit of
the New London
dissent along the call.
Yeah, the New London faithful do not like the goaltending call. I think they were saying that was a pass looking for the alley, and the oop never came. That's how I saw it. But the officials say, that was a shot that was taken down, and that's how you answer it, Chris. Oh boy, oh, what a dunk!
Two-hand flush by Dunn. 62-35. I think the question was, did Porter pin that against any part of the iron or the backboard? Dale to the lane, can't get it to go, a bit off balance. Simmons the rebound, another fast break, alley, no oop.
No oop, but at any rate, the fans have forgotten. That's what Dunn did. He goes down the other end of the court, and now suddenly nobody's really. He said, hey, wait a second, we're not really that worried about that goaltending call. We'll answer it.
Cut it out, turn to oh my, with the two-hand jam down the other end. Now don't be surprised by the giant gap between these two teams right now. New London prolific, scoring 8 times this season. In the 15 games they've played, they've had at least 80 points. Now, for someone who may not be familiar with high school basketball, that is a ghastly number.
Especially in a league that doesn't have a shot clock. Again, Rhode Island folks are accustomed to seeing 16-minute halves, shot clocks. Playing in Connecticut, you can essentially turn back the clock to 1951 and have, Fort Wayne against Minneapolis, 19-18 final score, and Norman Dale passing it 12 times before you take a shot.
Thompson at the free throw line, that's good.
And Thompson will be shooting 3 as he was fouled outside.
5'11" junior, got off to a great start this season, had 11 points in the first victory of the year for the Kelties. That one a little bit too strong. And then just sort of got lost within that very talented roster. Had a couple of stretches, 3 games in a row, 4 games in a row where he went scoreless, but he's had points in each of the last 3. Goes 2 of 3 from the line on that one. 62-37 game. Beautiful look inside. Simmons will get fouled. Fortunately, Dale not injured on that play as he came in hot over the top.
Well, again, Dunn's pass came in very hot. You saw him thread the needle right down the center of the paint. And, just unfortunate for him that Simmons couldn't finish the layup.
Read well by Dale, and now numbers for Mount Pleasant. He takes it to the iron. Left hand flush. Down the other end, Porter can't get it to go with the left hand, and it's going to be Mount Pleasant basketball. Boy, you could see Dale lining that one up by the time he got to the coach's hash, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. His eyes lit up. He took it hard and perfect form, throws it down. Those make the, we thought we'd see a couple of them coming in. That'll keep the home, put a smile on the face of some of the home crowd.
I'm not disappointed with what we've seen to this stage. If we get more, it's all gravy. Now the outside game, nope. Fine rebound by Putu.
Now he stepped on the baseline.
Not a lot of room to operate down there. New London does a nice job of closing out at the top of the perimeter and along the baseline as well. You earn every inch of real estate you get from them. Now the crowd still buzzing after that dunk by Dale.
Great crowd for a Saturday afternoon between two non-traditional rivals. Is a terrific crowd.
I'll tell you, you mentioned the lacrosse team a moment ago as that one splits the wickets through Dunn's hand. I'm impressed with how many Providence College folks are here.
Yes.
Co-eds, even you see friends of alumni and alumni of the school. They're all here just to watch because they get a taste, a preview of what's to come with Dunn, and I'm sure they have to walk away happy.
Well, and you know, there's a little bit of prejudice. This is a fan base for Providence College on the men's basketball side that's hungry. It hasn't been back to the national tournament, I believe, since 2004, and Dunn with another throwdown. He has 6 second-half points. He's up to 23 for the game. You know, they're hungry. They want Coach Ed Cooley to do well. They want him to succeed. He has created so much positive energy around this program. He's a guy that, you know, I was down calling the Hendricken LaSalle game a few weeks back. He came down and, you know, maybe not necessarily recruiting anybody from either of those sides, but, you know, he has a presence about him. He has a presence and realizes the connection to the community that's important, and he's here today. No doubt checking out the goods. But, you know, when you think about all of that, and you think about what is really shifting culturally, when you start talking about Providence College with season ticket holders, with alumni, why wouldn't you come? There is just so much excitement right now about where this program is and is headed.
Porter, another lay-in with the right hand. Depending upon who it is that you believe or whoever you take the most stock in, if you look at the recruiting class that Ed Cooley has brought here to Providence in his first year of recruiting, his first year as Simmons turns that shot aside, ranked number 7th in the nation by ESPN.com, 5th by CBSSports.com, and 8th by Scout.com. Now, that could improve even more if some of the rumors which are permeating are true, and that is if Nerlens Noel, the fine Everett, Mass native and Tilton School Center, changes his mind and comes to Providence. Now, that's one of the schools on his list after he reclassified the other day. There are also some other big boys in the block as Beckford misses another 3. Syracuse, UConn, Kentucky, North Carolina, Florida, Georgetown, they're all in the mix. But if you take Ricky Lado, Chris Dunn, Josh Fortune, the Hampton, Virginia 6'5" guard, the transfer coming in from Arizona, Sadiki Johnson, and then you add a Noel, that could very easily be the number 1 recruiting class in the nation.
Lado's here as well, you know, taking in one of his future teammates. And, you know, one of the things I think you talk about when you talk about great recruiting classes, and you see this across the board in a lot of different sports, it's not only necessarily what they are when they come in, it's what a coach like Ed Cooley is going to be able to do with them when they get here. He is a great teacher of the game as Dunn goes coast to coast. That's what's exciting, you know, is getting these guys together who are great individuals that have played on some great teams and turning them into the next great brand here at Providence College.
Dale goes right into Simmons, draws the offensive foul. That's the nitty-gritty type of play you get out of Simmons. And Coach Parker says he's got a number of Division III schools now looking at him. A couple of years ago, he wasn't necessarily sure if Simmons was that type of a player, but the hard work that he has put into things such as that, part of the reason why he's blossomed, and this New London team is looking for a second straight state championship. They're going to walk away with a victory here today. They're up big, 7.5 left. From Alumni Hall, it's the Varsity Zone on Cox Sports. Well, there's been plenty to see and enjoy here at Alumni Hall, and we've still got 7 minutes and 38 seconds left to go. Part of a wall-to-wall weekend of high school basketball. It's great to have you with us for this non-league matchup. The Dish and